throat, but other than that, I'm okay.
Mm.
Thanks. What about you? How are you?
I'm great, teacher. Yeah, I'm great. I'm a little bit tired because the last week was, um, well, I was too busy the last week, so I'm a little bit tired. But now I'm great. Thank you very much.
Yeah. How is the work coming along? It seems to be an interesting job in which you visit many companies, right?
Yeah, yeah, it's so interesting. And obviously, I like to go to the companies. And for example, the last week we went to. Uh, there was like a car expo. It's called Foro de Proveeduría at Poliforum in León. And we were there. We were visiting some stands, offering core services too. And obviously, people recognize us too because we had the T-shirt of the company. And yeah, we were walking. The next day, we went to another enterprise. So yeah, it is so interesting. But in occasions when you are for a long time in the highway, you feel like tired, and if you need to drive, you feel more tired. But apart of that, it's so interesting. The next week, I start a course of how say intern audit. How can I say it? Like,
Internal audit.
Mhm. Yeah, I'm gonna take that course. The purpose of that is that obviously I acquire knowledge about that, and I start doing the work that my aunt and other person is doing. And yeah, I'm happy and I'm motivating too.
That's fantastic. Really, really good.
Thank you, teacher.
Yeah, internal audits are important because they allow the company, well, they allow to be ready for the external audits of certification or customer audits. When you
Yeah,
want to sell your product, obviously they want to inspect the facility and make sure that you have the right infrastructure to produce a quality product, right?
yeah, so
That's really, really fabulous. I remember when I was in Siemens, when we used to get visitors. I think I told you this anecdote a number of times, but I still remember they told us, "Okay, let's begin the audit." Yeah, great, let's go. Okay, where? Where do we go? Let's go to the bathrooms.
mm,
Bathrooms? Yeah, I remember.
yeah,
So, yeah, then at the end, when we were at lunch or at dinner, they said, I told them, "Why did you first ask us to check the bathrooms?" And their logic was quite simple. They said, if you are able to treat your employees well, we know that you're going to treat our product well as well.
yeah, exactly.
And on the other hand, if you mistreat your workers, who knows how you're going to treat our product, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. For example, the audits that we do is according to, uh, as I told you, CityPat and Antoa when it's with the Mexican government, and they have like they called profiles. There are 11 profiles that the company needs to complete, and well, for them, we are like the external auditors, but obviously we we teach them like the procedures that they need to follow to complete those profiles, and then when the officers of the CBP is called go to the company. There's gonna be like more easier because they have everything in order. So so yeah, it is so interesting. There are so many things uh, to know, to understand. Um, but fortunately, I think that I have visited so many companies, and in a way, I have seen that like since firsthand. So it was like when babies wants to, well, babies now, the moms wants that the baby starts swimming, but they just drop the baby in the pool. I feel the same here because they actually told me that not so many times they have to visit so many companies, but since I go to the company with my aunt, well, we have visited at least like 12 or 13 companies in less than 1 month and a half. So Yeah, it is so interesting, and I'm aware too that I need to learn so many things, but step by step.
You know what might be a good idea for you for now and maybe the short and middle term future? That you make bibliographic notes about a company for and not only for the benefit of your company of your end, but also for your future reference in as complete as possible. Of course, it takes time, but might be a good idea because it's a great thing to be visiting companies. It's like having new friends. Maybe
Yeah.
you're not going to visit them every day, but you know that there is a friend that has these features, these characteristics. Well, a company is the same. You know that there is a company that manufactures this and this and this, and they have this type of practices, this type of talent, this type of potential, this type of skills. And now you're young and your mind is very fresh, or you can chat with another person and say, well, there is this company, there is this guy, there is this friend who's got a lot of talent, he speaks good English, he's got good values, good moral, this and that, and he's related and connected with other guys.
Hmm.
Well, you can do the same with a company, Mickey. I'm just thinking about that, like a bibliographic note about this company. Company A produces bottles of water. Their practices are very clean, very honest, very productive, whatever. A
Yeah.
small note,
Hmm.
because you're making so many, meeting so many companies, not getting to know them. So might be a good idea. I don't know. Think about it. It takes time, I
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, it's a good idea. Yeah. Actually, the only thing that we have of the employees of each company is their contact. But yeah, it is true. Like to do a little, how say, like bibliographic note, and yeah, put like my opinions and my point of view of the company, of the people working there, and for references in the future, it's gonna be. Yeah, I haven't think about it, but I'm gonna do it, teacher.
Yeah, could help you. And you also start becoming an expert in assessing companies. Maybe you don't know. Maybe one day in the future they will tell you, well, we need an expert to, for example, the state government has a secretary called Secretary of Economic Development and in something like international investment, no, investment attractions. They
Mm-hmm.
attract investments.
Yeah.
So they send scouts to Europe, to Asia, to this and that to evaluate or assess companies and check out if they are able to invest in Mexico. But it's not only any company. You need to be able to have an expert eye and be able to assess the company. Say, this company is very good. They are very responsible. They are very this and that and that and that. So we can invite them to Mexico and invest and maybe start, I don't know, operations here, or the other way around, right? Maybe maybe one day, for example, this company of drones and GPS systems,
Hmm.
they have another company in Central America, I think in Guatemala, and another one in Ecuador. The person is expanding, right? So you can do the same, but on the other way, how to expand Mexican companies, how to expand other territories with Mexican companies. But now you're not assessing the product, you are assessing the whole company, right?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Yeah, and for example, that company they export to United States or how they work?
Which one? The drones?
The company of the yeah, exactly.
No, they do the opposite. They import. They
The import.
import. They import drones and GPS systems for agriculture. A
Hmm.
GPS system, an example of a GPS system is monitoring system, a mechanism that moves a tractor automatically with the help of the guidance of a GPS system. So they move
Hmm.
the tractor, but they import these equipments from China, from Israel, from Spain, from China, US, Italy, Spain, Israel, at
That's
least
right.
different countries. The owner is a guy from Mexico City. He's a very smart guy and very humble. If you see him, it looks like an everyday guy, just like you and I.
Yeah,
Very down to earth man, really. But obviously, is very entrepreneurial and has got lots of achievements. Right?
that's right, teacher. And how's going the classes with them?
They're going great,
Mm.
really well. The the yeah, really well. The level is very uneven. Two of them are very fluent. They are natural. Let's say that. Another guy is very, very persistent, but he hasn't developed this fluency yet. He's gonna get there little by little because
Yeah.
he's a very hardworking person. He's very persistent and very ambitious, and he's not shy. Even
Mm.
though he still makes a few mistakes, which is nothing. I mean, all of us make mistakes.
Yeah.
He doesn't get embarrassed or nothing. He just corrects and continues like it should be, right? That's the way it should be.
Yeah.
And
That's
the
me.
lady that's the manager, she used to be very shy because she was a perfectionist.
Hmm.
It took her a long time to review the phrase. I am an accountant. She wanted to say a phrase perfectly, but that's a mistake. She's supposed to speak fluently with confidence. And she says, I am an accountant. And she says, an accountant. Okay, an accountant. Just go on, right? Continue.
Yeah. 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 That's true. Yeah, it is so interesting to be honest. For example, the last week that we went to that car expo at Polyforum, there were a stand of a transport line from Canada, and obviously the people who was there, they were Canadian, I imagine, and they started talking to us because we saw that they had like little trucks, and it was like you're curious, and I took one. And they started talk about their company in English, like if we were in an expo in Canada or in the United States, and the other person who works with me, I thought that he knew how to speak English, but I think that he was like, I don't know, like intimidated or what, but he didn't answer nothing because they were asking us of what we were doing in our company and what we offer and that stuff. And it was different with me because I felt like more confident in speaking in English than in Spanish. So
Really? That's
yeah, I,
nice.
I think that that is because, well, we have learned English different than Spanish. For example, here I think that we talk about different topics, we express our ideas or thoughts, and it's a different way to, at least for me, to speak English than to speak Spanish. And probably I feel like more confident in speaking English. So yeah, it's curious about that you mentioned the other person that they don't feel shy when they're speaking English. Just the other girl.
Yeah, well, that is a good trait that you're able to develop to do any activity without any embarrassment. I mean, it's natural. It's only human to make mistakes. Who doesn't make
Yeah.
mistakes, right? But also, the best example that I have for learning is children. They trip, they just stand up and go on. They don't care about what's people gonna say. They don't care about that crap.
Mhm.
They don't say, oh, they're gonna think that I trip because I don't have the capacity to walk. And of course not. That's nonsense, right?
Yeah, they don't care. Yeah, and I think that it's an stage of life where we learn, if not the majority of things, we learn how to talk, how to walk, how to so many things, and yeah, and I think that when we're kids, we are more curious about everything.
That's true. That's another great trait of people, right? That when you're curious, you want to investigate, you want to find out how things work, how
Yeah.
to make things, what's the explanation of this and that, right? They don't stop saying why this and why and
Mhm.
why.
Yeah.
That's a great capacity of children. Yeah, well, Mickey, I wanted to, now that we're talking about internal audits and company and trade and this and that, there's a
Hmm.
friend of mine who's been a friend for 30 some years, maybe 40 years,
Yeah.
and he's doing several businesses.
Hmm.
He's very smart also, and he's in the he's looking for a company that manufactures denim aprons. I'll show you a picture. This is one of the aprons that he wants to be built. Maybe you would like to give it a look. I sent it to you. I posted where? I think I posted in the. Let me see. I'm gonna share the screen,
Thank you.
and he wants to. Oh, I didn't start the paint. Paint is the. I kind of like it. Okay, here. He wants to start manufacturing, not manufacturing, looking for a sub supplier that manufactures this apron. The apron must be made of, in case that you know, manufacturer apron made of denim with a percentage, I think.
Hmm.
This is an apron. I believe it's for, I don't know if it's for the industry, the food industry, or for restaurants, or for waiters or waitresses. You see it? Apron made of denim. I believe it's made of
Yeah,
denim.
yeah, I can see it.
And they need to manufacture 440, and the destination is Querétaro. The target price is 19 pesos plus IVA. I don't know if it is cheap. 440 per week. 440 per week, right? This is per week. The objective price, the target price is 19. Target cost actually, for us, right? I mean, for him, he says that
Hmm.
he's going to give me a commission, but I'm not really that interested in the commission. I have many things to do that I
Yeah.
don't want to get involved really. I want to
Hmm.
pass this to a person so that they make everything, the work and the profit directly, right?
Yeah.
Because I have many activities, so I don't want to like. But I believe this is a good opportunity for him and whoever wants to come along with him. The target cost is this, and then they're gonna resell it in Querétaro to someone. I guess it's a, I don't know if a Chinese or Korean company. And he's got other things, other ideas, like he's selling Sherwin Williams paintings directly from the factory, from the supplier. So they get good prices. That's another project. Let's say project two, Sherwin Williams paints.
Mm,
Paint.
yeah. Yeah, the name sounds familiar.
Yeah, it's a very famous brand.
Hmm.
So let's say that this is project number one. This is project number two that he's got, or product number two. And he's got another one for illumination. Let me show you really quick. Illumination is this one. Lucan. I don't know if you know this company now that you've been visiting companies. Lucan. Let me see. It's
You can.
a company that produces LED lamps.
Okay.
It's a co-investment with a family in San Pancho del Moral. Mayo del Moral is the director of this company. And he seems to be a fine guy. I think many people know him. I had a guy who was a friend of him, and I believe they became quite prominent. Is this Lucan? Let me take a picture of this.
Yeah, thank you.
Serious lighting. This one here.
Their facilities are in San Pancho?
For this company, yes. For
Mhm.
Lucan, yes. Okay, this is Lucan.
Lucan. Lucan.
Let me put it down. Lucan. This is the name of the company. It's in San Pancho. And what they do is they manufacture, they market illumination devices, lamps for the streets. If you want to sell to the city hall, then
Hmm.
you need to supply the lamps. And I believe this can be also a good idea. For some reason, he's got the contact. He says that he gets a good price on the products. So these are the three things that he's working with. And of course, he's willing to reciprocate. If you have a project that you want to market and sell somewhere else, he'll be able to team up. So I would say that he's a good contact with good ideas and good contacts as well, and good information, and very honest, of course. And he might be a person interesting to know and make business with, in case that you find it interesting too, of course.
Yeah.
Leuken is for elimination,
Mhm.
serious lining.
There is a joint venture with capital Mexican and Korean. Wow.
Mm.
You can.
So I think this might be a good opportunity to do something, right? Something else in addition, additional.
Yeah. Okay.
And serious licensing, Leuken. And they are in San Francisco, in San Pancho.
Mm-hmm. It's near from Leon, right?
Yeah, 20 minutes from the
Mhm.
south. Because
From the
remember
south.
that crossing Leon would take you up to 30 minutes sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah. The last week, no, 2 weeks ago, I went to Leon, and I was near from how is called this part. Um, I don't know exactly the name of. It's not like just one residence. There are like little, uh, like
Clusters.
clusters, yeah. And I thought that in the past there were like a little river there or like I don't know. Do you know where is that? It's near from. I think that you pass Ibero and all stuff. Um, I don't remember the
Is
name.
along Morelos Boulevard.
I'm not sure. I remember that the name of the street was like uh, something like Jardines de Arroz or Jardines de Trigo. I don't remember, but there were different clusters, and near from that there were like Pizza Lupillos, and after that an Oxxo. I don't remember, but yeah, I passed from that place because I was in a um, well, some friends of my parents did a little how you say it? Like
Barbecue.
yeah, something like that. And I needed to go to the Costco near from Plaza Mayor, the Costco of that.
Oh,
And
okay, yeah.
yeah, in distance it wasn't too much, and it was like 30 minutes just from there to
Oh,
the Costco. And a part of that, I started the training, and yeah,
okay.
but yeah, Leon, it's now it's huge. It's huge.
Yeah, yeah. When it rains, it becomes traffic becomes very difficult. I
Yeah.
don't live far from Costco actually, from the north Costco. There are two Costcos. The one in the north, I live like 5 minutes away.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's where my apartment is. Called El Rosario. It's very strategically located. I'm very, very happy there. Actually, here, and so yeah, very nice.
Yeah, El Rosario.
Well, these are the three projects, and so well, if you come across the opportunity or whatever, well, remember that there are at least three
Yes, sure. Thank you very
opportunities
much.
here.
Yeah, now
Right.
what I need to know
Uh,
is how to establish like a balance with everything because to be honest, uh, it has been difficult because in occasions when I come back from the companies from the driving in the highway, I feel tired and then I need to go to the gym. I need to follow with my personal projects. I need to do the homework of the master or I need to go with my friends in occasions. I think that it's helped too with my girlfriend too. And yeah, to be honest, I need to know how to manage quarterly my time because at the end of the weekend I feel so tired.
yeah, well, I fully understand you. I'm right there now.
Yeah.
So I believe the main driver is rest. Because if you, I think one of the most forgotten necessities humans have is to rest. and propaganda pushes you to just do more, do more, do more, do more. Well, what about your body? People need to rest. That's the main ingredient. It's not just to burn yourself, right? It is very important to be able to rest, recover your energy, your peace of mind. And very often we forget that. Very often, mostly, I think, because we're pushed by the propaganda saying that do this to the extreme, don't let yourself down, this and just commercials, right?
Yeah.
But that's baloney for me. I mean, people need to rest. That's the number one issue, in my personal opinion. Of course, you need to ask your parents, your friends, think yourself about this. But I believe that if you're able to recover your energy, you will be able to do anything better than if you don't have the right energy to do it. And it's your health. So sleeping well is probably one of the best habits for that work in the benefit of your health and your work and daily life. So, but yeah, it's very easy to say, right? Uh, yeah, I'm trying to be between 7:30, or 8 hours of sleep every day. And when I do that, geez, I feel really, really
Yeah.
healthy, happy, productive, and this and that.
Yeah, it's completely different. And yeah, as you mentioned, what propaganda says, I have seen so many videos, a lot of content about you need to wake up at 5, and then you need to read this book, and then you need to go to do your healthy breakfast. Of that, after that, you need to go to the gym. After that, it's like, oh my god, so much propaganda about it, and yeah, at the end, I think that if you don't compensate that with the correct recovery, no, you cannot do it. It's so difficult.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. So yeah, it's very important not to ignore how to recover your energy, how to rest well, and sometimes you have to drop things aside. Like say, well, I cannot go to Silao and Lagos at the same time, right? They are in opposite directions.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're at a crossroads and you need to say, well, I can only go to Lagos this day, or I can only go to Silao. I cannot go to both places in the same journey, they opposite directions.
Yeah, it is true.
But well, that's the person to make the assessment is you, and you're going to learn a lot through the process. You're going to learn how to how to set things aside, how to choose the right one and drop the other ones.
Yeah, yeah, it is true. For example, I had another project in the past that I left for a while because I wasn't like given the enough time to develop that. So in a way, I felt that I was not giving the correct service, and I prefer to, at least for this moment, left that project aside because now I couldn't. I was not giving the service that I wanna give. So yeah, in occasions it is important to um, understand our boundaries too. I think so that we
Yeah,
cannot do everything, and that it's okay. At the end, uh, every new day is a new opportunity. So let's see
right.
how we start managing our time and establish our routines and all stuff. Yes,
Even
sir.
if you want to leave a legacy, let's say that you want to make a legacy, to make a heritage of people, friends, family, or someone else who wants to join in. Like now you're helping your aunt, but maybe somebody is going to help you eventually. Maybe not very soon, but maybe not, maybe yes. And you want to teach someone to do some of the things that you do. Well, even in that case, it takes time to train the person.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
you want to train someone to do some of the things that you are now doing, and you want him or her to help you out, even that takes time. So you need to consider that training time, uh, encouraging, motivating, showing, making the contacts. So yeah, it's a challenge, but you learn through the process.
Yes, sure. Yeah, I'm aware of that. I know that probably is just for this moment. I think that when time passes, I will have more experience, more. more knowledge on how I can manage my time and yeah, why not like optimize other tasks that I have to do. So yeah, let's see how it goes.
Yeah, okay, Mickey. Well, I created a short file. Actually, I didn't do it, it was the artificial intelligence who did it. But let's discuss it. It's very interesting. It is a file about the process of internal audits. Is interesting in the sense that much of this is logical. For example, the purpose of internal audits, a lot of people would say that is risk management. What do you think about this?
Risk
That
management.
you want to manage the risk that the company has, or you want to mitigate it? What's your idea? You want to read it and discuss it?
Hmm.
Maybe.
Yeah. Identify and assess potential risks that could affect organizations, operations, financial performance, or reputation. Evaluate the effectiveness of internal controls in mitigating identified risks.
For example, can it be that the company has malpractices, that
Mhm.
the company is taking many risks that affect the security or the safety of the workers or of the product? What do you think?
Yeah, of course. I consider that is one of the main purposes of audits. Uh, in occasions, it is important to see where is the company, how can I say, like stands for, see the different vulnerabilities that the company could have, and then try to mitigate it when you have identified that. So yeah, it is true. I have seen a lot of things in companies that probably I'm not too um, yeah, I think that is not correct. For example, I have seen it for companies because we need to analyze the profiles of the people who's working on the company. They have like their procedures to select the people and all stuff. And mostly when it's like people who's gonna work in the machines, like in the operate part, and normally it's people that probably don't have the knowledge in different aspects and I have seen like the how do you say this the their sign in a in a white how do you say it? White
Sheet.
sheet, yeah,
Your
and
signature.
and their fingerprint there, and there's no more. This is like a white sheet without anything else. And obviously, that gives you the idea that probably in the future is for if they don't want to pay um, when they fire someone, they could say that they just signed that and that stuff. And yeah, I have seen that in that companies, and obviously, it's not according to the things that we analyze, but I have seen that, and that makes me think about so many things.
Yeah, it's first of all, it's out of the law. That's
Yeah.
illegal.
Hmm.
And I had that situation with a friend that I worked for in Leon,
Hmm.
and he started doing that sometimes because they have bad advice. It's not because they are bad people, but sometimes a new guy comes to the company and tells you, I'm going to give you great advices that's going to save your finances, that's going to help you, that's going to get you out of trouble. Have your workers sign a blank sheet with their signature and their fingerprint. If you ever need to fire them, then you just fill in the sheet, and then first of all, it tells you that they're taking advantage, right?
Yeah.
From a moral standpoint, that's bad, but also from the legal standpoint, I told my friend, "Look, if you ever need to get rid of me, I'm gonna go. I'm not gonna cause any trouble. But also, if I get upset, which I will not, and I can ask for an expert, a legal expert. He's going to determine that the signature is 3, 4 months old, and that you typed the paper yesterday. So there's going to be a mismatch, and you're going to get in trouble. So it doesn't work.
Hmm.
But people do it, and they continue doing it. But you can ask for an expert, a perito, to determine the age of the ink of your signature. And he's going to say, Well, this document that they asked Mickey to sign, the signature was signed 6 months ago,
Hmm.
and the other words and lines were typed yesterday.
And in those cases, to be honest, I don't know. Uh, the worker needs to, when for example, the company fire a specific worker, and the worker goes for what it's supposed that they need to receive after the end of the relationship, the work relationship. They need to go with perito or how it works, or
They need
normally.
to go to the judge, and the judge will say, "Okay, I want you to prove with what you're saying." Well, he made me sign this document 6 months ago, and if the other person says, "No, that's not true," then you need to prove what you said. The other
Mhm.
person can admit, "Well, yeah, I made him sign the acquittal. He was going to quit. It's an acquittal letter of acquittal."
Yeah,
Uh, And if the other person admits, then well, you just give him the compensation. But if he says, "No, I didn't, you just signed this yesterday," and he says, "No, I signed it 6 months ago. You made me sign it in a blank sheet," or really, then you call the experts. And if you win the case as a worker, the owner of the company has to pay all the expenses.
mm. Mm, okay.
But of course, they don't know about this. They don't know. They don't want to take the risk. They sometimes are afraid. Uh,
Yeah,
I mean, they are at a very great disadvantage, honestly speaking.
yeah, it's true. Yeah, and apart in that type of work, there are a lot of rotation in the companies. I have seen that they're always recruiting and they're always. Uh, it is so funny. The last time I went to a company in Puerto Interior, uh,
Yes.
bless you, and there were two posters. One of them
Thanks.
says we're recruiting in these specific areas, and the other one was sign of how do you say, sign of ends of relationships or work relationship and all stuff. Wednesdays at 5, and it's like, oh my god! In one part you are recruiting, and in the other one you are making the people who's gonna end their work relationship with the company sign the documents, and the other one you're recruiting. So yeah, it is. Yeah, I think that it was good, and it's something that I have learned and that I'm grateful because now I'm like taking more value of the opportunities that I have, knowing like the reality of so many people.
Yeah, well, that's a great experience that you're acquiring. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. And you know what people go through when they decide to take a job or to quit a job, you know what motivates them to do this, right?
Mhm. Yeah, exactly.
Well, you're gaining lots of great experience, Mickey. That's fantastic. Let's go to number two, compliance. Let's
Mhm.
take a look at compliance, Mickey, please.
Yeah. Compliance. Ensure that the organization adheres to relevant laws, regulations, standards, and internal policies. Verify that procedures are followed as intended and identify any areas of non-compliance.
Can it be that the company is tossing the polluted waters into the river when they shouldn't, or they are having gas emissions that they're not supposed to, or that those gas emissions are above compliance levels? Or can it be that they are using toxic materials, for example, for the tanning of some leathers or skins? Can it
Mhm.
be that there may be so many things out of regulations that I mean you can make a book. So what do you think about this purpose? You want to make sure that there is compliance with the law, regulation, and standards.
Yeah, it is so important. For example, I know that in the companies that are well focused on food and all stuff, they need to have a lot of care about the treatment of the products, the cleanness, everything. And there are like some regulations about the well, you need to do at least, I don't know, depending of the company, but I have seen in transport lines that they transport what is this? Lettuce and all stuff. I don't remember the other vegetable, but they transport that. They need to um, how do you say fumigate? I forget it.
Fumigate.
Yeah, fumigate. Yeah, they
Yes.
need to fumigate the truck where they export where they are transporting the lettuce at least one time per week, and they have like the all the specific procedure of the fumigate, and yeah, they need to follow that because if one external audit goes and they see that they haven't done mm, the fumigation, they can have a lot of fines too.
Yeah, that is true. In particular, in the food industry, is very strict. The regulations are quite strict. Many of the crops with foliage, normally crops with foliage, require a sanitary certification. Phytosanitary certification. I don't know why this doesn't have the sorry phytosanitary certificate for export. Right. So if you're gonna export broccoli, broccoli has foliage.
Mhm.
In the crown, they can store plagues. So it makes you require. I mean, it requires that you need a phytosanitary certificate to guarantee that there are no plagues in the product.
Yeah.
Radishes, for example, if they are peeled, if you don't have any foliage in the radish, then you can export them with no need of certificate. Also, your celery, for example, if you chop off all the leaves and the foliage and it's only the celery sticks, then
Mhm.
you don't need a certificate.
Mm.
And there are also regulations for that. They tell you this needs and this doesn't need a phytosanitary certificate for exportation.
Okay.
And so you need to know also what type of products require, I mean, are in conformity or in compliance with the standards. Every industry has their own standards, and they have their own booklets, and they say, well, we need to comply with this law, with these standards, and that is incredibly important because otherwise you're not able to export. For example, importing the drones and GPS systems requires certain standards that you should not violate. One of them is the communication band. If you're gonna put or set your drone to fly, it needs to communicate in a specific band because you don't want to create interference with the police bandwidth or with the military bandwidth or with commercial bandwidth. So they assign you specific bandwidths for operation.
Mhm.
So it is really, really each
Yeah.
industry has their own standards, and that's incredibly interesting and important to comply with.
Yeah. Yeah. It's true.
Well, let's take a look at the next one, Mickey, please. Operational efficiency.
Operational efficiency. Assess the efficiency and effectiveness, yeah,
Effectiveness.
effectiveness of operational processes. Identify opportunities for cost savings, process improvements, and better resource allocation.
Yeah, what have you seen recently, Mickey, in this sense?
Mm, well, in this part, we're not too much involved because we don't analyze the procedures. Probably talking about the I don't know the procedures of the machines or what they are doing. But for example, we analyze the procedure when they are transporting something that's gonna go outside of Mexico. And that goes to in this case that goes to United States, for example. And yeah, there are so many things that they need to analyze. For example, they need to have like how can I say like stop safes that in occasion that something occurs, there are like specific in the route. There are like safe zones where the truck driver can go, and if they want to rest something they can go to that places, or like specific gas stations in case that is required. There are like zones that are safe to them. And And yeah, it is important because it gives you an idea of what's gonna be the expenses of that trip, and you could do assessments to see how can you improve probably the time, or how can you improve the safety of the truck driver too, because in occasions you know that the security in our country is not the best. So you need to see if there are like alternate routes to to avoid this type of situations. So yeah, probably I'm not too involved in the operational procedures, but in this case, is the procedure that I have seen.
Yeah, and that is it is great to identify the rest areas, places where they can supply themselves with water, maybe take a nap,
Yeah.
get rescue services, being rescued, or emergency facilities, or even maybe an emergency cell phone. Yeah, it is very important because these trips from Guanajuato to the border takes you at least 16 hours by truck.
Mhm.
So imagine it's not a short trip.
Yeah.
Uh, but also, if you are able to give advice to the various companies about what other companies do, I have seen this with specifically with a guy who was a consultant, very very famous and very well respected. And he was a consultant for for Chinese, for German, for American firms, and he was very ethical. He said he got permission from the companies to say, well, company A does this. I'm not going to reveal the name of the company, but I'm going to tell you that they put the machines together. Another company put the warehouse in the north because that would save time for them to ship their merchandise to the north directly. Things of that nature. And he would be constantly sharing the good practices of other manufacturers for the
Mhm.
benefit of everyone. But he never revealed who the company was. Right?
Yeah, of
Sometimes they
course.
were competitors.
Hmm.
Uh, but well, there's an opportunity there because many things can be improved in companies, not only the layout of the machinery or the processes, but the, even suggesting to visit certain clients. You know, there is a market here. Oh, really? Yeah, they are buying this from I mean, the government, for example, of this city or this country is buying this for the agricultural departments, or the universities are buying this, or this is a potential client. So that's also helpful and good information, Mickey.
Hmm. Yeah, it is true.
Well, let's go to financial accuracy, please.
Financial accuracy. Validate the accuracy and reliability of financial reporting. Ensure that financial statements are prepared in accordance with accounting standards.
What do you think of this?
Yeah, of course. Uh, in this situation, I think that it's important to be honest with you, and yeah, that the things that you're saying are according with the reports that you have. Um, I imagine that some companies probably abuse a little bit of this, and well, yeah, I don't have so much to say in this one.
Yeah, well, maybe sometimes you'll find out that some companies have double accounting, one for the auditors and one accounting, which is the real accounting. They are docking the documents, right? Doctoring means manipulating the documents.
Yeah.
I think that is a malpractice. There is a company in Irapuato called IG Transformers, and it used to be ran by Mr. Alfonso Hernandez, a fantastic guy. And one day he got a bad advisor from I don't know where, and he said, "Well, you can save a lot of money by by moving your workers from the social security system to the honorarios system, which is wage system, to the wage system. You just pay them on their wage, but put them all together: engineers, architects, designers, electricians, everyone put him in that system. And he did. And it was a terrible decision. And I mean, consultants are very important for good and for bad.
Yeah, it is
Because
true.
you can give a fantastic advice to a person, and that's going to make the business very prominent, and also the society take advantage of that, but it can be the opposite as well. So it is really, really crucial that people like you or your aunt or people of that nature are able to give good and honest advice to companies because they follow it. They do it. They implement what you say. Some very often, more often than not, they will do it.
And what happened with the company of IG Transforms?
50% of the workers quit, and the company was close to collapse because they said, no, we're not working here anymore. We've been working here for 15 years, and now we have no pension, we have no benefits, we have no nothing. And 50% quit. It was a tragedy. And so, yeah, they had to get all kinds of problems to go back to normal operation. Yeah, sometimes it can be very costly.
Of
A
course.
bad decision can be very costly for themselves. They think that people are not going to react. They're just going to swallow it and say, well, I swallow it. What a heck. But not always. So people got enraged, really upset by that decision. I mean, how can
Yeah.
you just overnight lose 15, 20 years of your work experience and now you don't have any benefits or nothing? Now you're a normal worker that could have been just hired yesterday. I mean,
Yeah.
I knew a person who worked there and quit. He came to work for Siemens. He was a good friend. He was my mentor at the beginning. He taught me, and he told me this story. But well,
Transforms IG. Yeah, I know where it's located. Their facilities.
yeah, they have two facilities. One is in Isabela Católica, where they
Uh-huh.
manufacture pole transformers, and there is another one in Solidaridad, where they
Yeah,
manufacture copper for the windings
okay.
of
Wow.
the transformers and other operations. And there's more people, believe me. They are really, really creative. And the father passed away.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure your dad's gonna know the story about them.
Yeah, actually, I met probably 4 or 5 years ago. One of the daughters of one of the sons of the sir, and then she was called. Well, it was a girl. It was called Alejandra Hernandez,
Okay.
and I remember the name of this the of uh, her father, but yeah, he was son of that sir. But he was a disaster. That sir was alcoholic, and actually he passed away probably 3 years ago.
The father of this girl,
Yeah, because he was alcoholic and he had cirrhosis. How do you say that?
cirrhosis.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
he passed away.
It's very sad, really sad. And it's difficult to know what's behind things like that if you're not involved there. But the first man, a great guy, I met him personally. He was, what, maybe 75. He had retired
Mm,
and put his son, maybe one of these sons was this guy that you mentioned. And I think it's him. Yeah, I think it's him. There were three brothers. There were
mm.
many, many, but three brothers were in charge of the company. The father said, I'm going to retire. I'm going to go watch some TV and I'm going to put my children to run the company. And the children at that time, that's almost 20 years ago, they were running the company, but they were competing to see who spent more money. So say,
The
how is it that my brother took out this money? No, I want more money. So they were more worried taking out money from the company, according to a person that worked there for many years. And one day the company was close to collapse. And the father said, actually, it was them who made this decision of migrating the type of employment of the workers to the system from the consultant.
Mm.
And so the father said, I'm tired of this. He came back from his house out of retirement. He fired the three sons and he started managing the company.
Again, wow.
So this daughter that you met is probably the daughter of one of these three guys that the father fired. So
Probably.
he took control of the company, and then he hired his daughter, his youngest daughter from his third marriage, and but he didn't put her as a manager. He asked her to do sales. He asked her to solder cables. He asked her to do basic, very elementary things from each single department. So she learned how to manage the company from the bottom up. Right?
Yeah.
That's how you should learn to do things, I guess.
Hmm.
And guess who's the owner of the company now?
That girl.
That girl is the owner.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's that it's something that occurs. I have seen that with one transport line that is in Leon. The sir, probably the owner, has probably almost 80 years, and he always is in the office. And obviously he has his sons, and now the people who's taking, like the the company are the sons of the son, and those are completely juniors of Leon, so they don't know nothing about the company. And yeah, that's a big mistake that probably they just were enjoying about the benefits of being part of that company, but they never been involved. And now when they are really confronting that is where the problems arise, because you don't know how to deal with that. You don't know how to manage a company, and it's the company of your family.
That's a big problem, but it's also very common. You
Yeah.
want to give your kids a shortcut. You want to tell your kids, well, all the work, all the effort that I had to put to progress in life, I want to save that from you. I don't want you to do this effort. I don't want you to maybe suffer a little bit. And that's a big mistake, I think parents make. I mean, I'm a parent. I know that feeling. I said, I don't want my daughters to suffer what I suffer, right?
Mm.
Yeah, maybe not to that extreme, but uh, they need to know how difficult some things are or can be.
Hmm. Yeah, completely.
Otherwise, well, you are seeing now with your own eyes, Mickey, what happens when you don't do that, right?
Yeah, probably they have two BMWs, but they don't know nothing about the company. Yeah, but well, they're gonna deal with that sooner or later.
Yeah, exactly. But if you're in the consulting services, a good advice, honest advice, because if you have seen it, you have the authority to say it. Is Mr. Such and such. Some companies which have been very successful have asked their children to do this type of work at the very base, at the very bottom, and then learn the details of the, obviously with your own words, but learn the details of the companies, know what is happening deep down, because only then they're going to be able to take the right decisions. And it's a good and truth and honest advice.
Yeah, yeah, it is completely true. Yeah, because at the end, if you want to manage in a specific area, first of all, you need to understand how the area works, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, there are so many topics that are really, really exciting. What about
Hmm.
this one? Fraud prevention.
Fraud prevention. Yeah. Detect and prevent fraudulent activities by reviewing transactions, controls, and employee behavior, and strengthen internal controls to reduce the risk of fraud.
Yeah, what do you think of this, Mickey?
Yeah, of course, it is so important. It is so important. I haven't seen, thanks God, nothing about fraud, but I have heard stories about, how to say, uh, washing money. How do you say
Money
this?
laundering.
Money laundering. Yeah, yeah. I have heard cases of that For example, something that the city path analyzes is that you need to understand and you need to know the procedure of all your suppliers. For example, if you have a supplier that is from China and they know that they use um, kid work, or how do you say it, like kid explosion or
Child labor.
child labor, yeah, you could receive a fine or you can lose the chances to be part of the city path for that reason. They have identified like certain zones, certain countries that they have like child labor or that they abuse of control with of the workers of that. So you need to understand where your suppliers get the things that they are selling to you, and yeah, there are a lot of fraud and lies and all stuff.
Yeah, it's really, really, really interesting. When you talk about money lending companies like banks, uh, exchange money companies, I don't know what they call this, Sofipos, etc. Even in, yeah, it's very interesting, very, very interesting. Would you
Yeah,
say, would you think if it's actually, I mean, what I want to say is how do you make sure the laws are also strict and fair? For example, you say, well, a kid which is 17 years old shouldn't work. You say, well, no, why not? He's able to work because he's mentally strong, he's physically strong. Why shouldn't he work? So, who decides to set the age in which you should start working? Right? So, it's a whole controversial topic, but it's very, very interesting, Mickey.
yeah, mostly because obviously it's supposed a child at that age they need to be studying, they need to be in the school. They do not they don't need to be working. It's supposed, but well, we know that there are places that if you don't work, you don't know what are you gonna do.
Yeah, that's true. That's also social need. They need to support their families. My grandpa, for example, I'm thinking of my grandpa. My grandpa left the secondary school in Guanajuato because his father died and he was an orphan, and his mother was apparently not very well educated. So the child, my grandpa, left the school and went to work for a mine, in a mine, in the Valenciana mine. He worked there and other mines, in Cuba, etc. As a miner, so at 13 years old, he was learning how to use explosives. 13 years old.
Yeah,
He was working with dynamite to place explosives in the mine and be able to open up paths for the miners. And what about that? I mean, he was not a grown up, he was a child, right?
yeah,
And but he had to do it. And I can say, how can it be possible that he was working at 13? Well, he needed to support his family.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
So, well, okay, Mickey. Well, as usual, great conversation, man.
Yes, sure. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your time and as usual, great conversations.
Yeah. All right. So maybe when Wednesday or Thursday or Friday we have another chat.
Yes, sure. Will be great if you wish at the same hour or sooner. It's okay. Can I confirm you tomorrow at last if which day is better for me, and you check your schedule too, and then we decide.
Absolutely, absolutely. So let me know. Yes, please, Mickey. What's the best day for you? And it could be a bit earlier as well. I need to. We can do it. Maybe 8:30 or 9. 9. Nine's the, well, let's say this worst case, right? The earlier the better for you, right?
Yeah, in occasions. In others, it doesn't matter if it's at 8:30 or at 9. But yeah, teacher, I'll
Okay.
send you a message then.
Very good, Mickey. Take care. Say hello to the family and see you soon.
You too, teacher. Thank you very much, and take care. Have an excellent week.